So engineer, derived from the word engineer or cleverness. Remember ingenuity? So I think that's who we are, okay? So be proud of yourself. And who are we? Yeah, who are the engineers? Engineers are actually practitioners of engineering who uses mathematics and law of physics, and we formulate solutions for technical problems, yeah, that addresses practicalities, specification within cost and time, and of course environmentally safe, and we address environment safety and health aspect of it. That is the technical and the structured part of being an engineer. But the non-technical or the soft skill part is that we do all this in the, with capability to coordinate, with capability to administer and control cost, time, and program, and also with the capability to manage resources effectively. That's the part that completes the work or the whole profession of engineering. So what are the prerequisite requirements of becoming an engineer? Definitely you need that paper qualification, yeah? Your Bachelor of Science or your Bachelor of Engineering. And then secondly, you need that technical skill, the skills that you gather in your classroom, in the university, from your lecturers, from your major coursework, and of course attributes. That's the part that's a bit ambiguous, yeah? What is attribute? It's your character, your behavior, your attitude towards the profession, to what you're learning, okay? And then thirdly, you need communication skill, very important, both written and oral, and I think you've got enough of it. All those reports, all those paperwork, all those presentations, it actually to build up your ability to communicate effectively. And last and foremost, IQ and EQ. Now IQ, as we all know, is the intelligent quotient, but emotional quotient has become very, very relevant in fact. That is the behavioral and the characteristic of a person that includes soft skill, people skill, as well as interpersonal skill. So very important, we are technical, but we are also non-technical, okay? Briefly, where do engineers work? Manufacturing, you all know. Construction, services. Now, services has a lot of elements or feel to it. Example is consultancy, and then you even have logistics. You can even work in healthcare. I think that's an upcoming thing, healthcare, biomedical engineering, equipment, maintenance, and then IT, of course, another one. Power plant, and also you can work in the agriculture sector, mining, oil and gas, and amazingly not known to many, even in banking. Because what we have nowadays here in banking, risk aversion by financial institutions, you need engineer to assess risk related to construction, related to claim, to do due diligence and all that. So banking, don't discount it. It's one of your area that you can actually venture into, yeah, in the industry. So effectively, the whole cycle of being an engineer is that you get your degree, you get your paper qualification, and then you use that. You use the knowledge that you have to participate and collaborate with others, and you communicate your skill to the audience, to your client. You understand business and economic of the solution that you provide, all this in an ethical and technical environment. And over the years, you move up the ladder to become management, and you become leader in your own organization or the industry. So I want you to look at this carefully. Yeah? 10% of classroom training, that's all we need to apply in your career. But don't just yet give up on the exam or that paperwork or that homework. Yeah? You still need 100% of what you do here in the university, in the school, to get that paper qualification. And after which, when you go out there to work, learning doesn't stop there. It is continuous throughout your lifespan. Yeah? Now, human experience, a lot of statistics, a lot of study shows this. Yeah? Human experience is fundamental in building up your career, in building up the organization. So people learn best not through theory, but practical application. So that's where the 70% life experience come into place. Yeah? As you work, you still study, you still learn, you still gain information and knowledge, and I think we call this experiential learning. Yeah? Aristotle, yeah? That's what he said. For the things we have to learn before we can do them, like engineering, we learn by doing them. Life itself is a whole education. Now, as graduate, once you're out there, Most likely you will be required to provide information and data to people carrying out the project, the assignment. But very important, you must recognize nobody works alone. You work as a team, or you develop a certain technical expertise or skill that you could actually contribute to the team at large. Yeah? And then you move up. A few years later, you become intermediate engineers. Here you become, your role in driving the project or driving the assignment becomes larger, but so does your responsibility and your accountability. Yeah? Everything that you calculate really have an impact on your career by this level, okay? And then after the foundation is laid, you moved up some more and you become management. I have to say that when you arrive to this level, management level, the technical skill becomes lesser, okay? And you will concentrate more on maybe financial, budgeting, overall business strategy. But as I said, the foundation is always already laid. Your engineering foundation is laid, and that makes you a better manager, a better boss, a better CEO. So again, the importance of this slide is it is a whole process. Hardly anybody could start, unless you start your own entrepreneur. You could start by being a fresh graduate and straight to management. You have to take through the whole process, and that makes you a better person, really, a better engineer. Now, I would advocate that as a graduate, you must know the industry, okay? Again, this is just a repetition of what I said. Expect multidisciplinary problem, work as a team, collaborate with other disciplines. You will get to know architect. You will have to work with QS, legal, finance. You will have supplier, you will have consultant, you will have a client, you will have subcon authority to collaborate with. And end of the day also, you have to be business oriented. You have to know, right, what your labor actually costs to produce that services. Yeah? I think that's the last point on the slide. Be business oriented. Okay, I have to say here, as a company, when we employ an engineer, right, we don't just account for the basic salary that we pay the engineer, okay? For every $100 or 100 ringgit that you bring back, there are other costs that's related to it. Maybe another 120 ringgit is spent on your insurances, on your EPF, and then on your or the annual leave that you're entitled for. So I think as a graduate, you have to think, right? I may be bringing in 100 ringgit per hour worth of salary, but what is the actual cost to the business or to the organization? So be mindful about this. We try to avoid repetitive work, we try to avoid mistake, but a certain tolerance are given to graduate, graduate engineers, but you learn along the way. Yeah? You have to actually bear that in mind. Generally, news will indicate to you where the market, where the demand is. So that's where we want to be, okay? And then I'll quote what HSS went through as a company. Back in 1984, we started as a small consultant back in 1984. At that time, the concession, the privatization came in. There were toll roads, yeah? Plus highway was built. A lot of other highways were built in the nation. So we actually invested quite some amount of money. Whilst other consultants are just doing buildings or structure, which is good, but we also invested in infrastructure-related IT. And I think we did very well in the midst of 80s. And then came the 90s. We saw that there's potential, there's prospect in the rail industry. So we invested in rail, okay? So became quite a renowned consulting engineer in rail industry. And by the mid-2000, we ventured into the Middle East and actually exported our services to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, as well as Iran. So that's where we have offices now. So you see, you have to watch, you have to learn, you have to listen, and that will tell you where the demand and the market is, okay? Very important also, as the graduate, you have to know the workplace, yeah? Where do you want to work? Ask yourself, right? Whether you want to be attached to a GLC, government-linked company, do you want to be attached to a private company or a public listed company or an international corporation? I think you just need to know what do you really want to do, okay? Now all this, right, despite saying that they are big or small, There's a lot of pros and cons attached to it, but I think in this IT era, right, we are accessible to internet. We know we could actually Google, we could actually find out what the organization offers, right? So I think you have to take the initiative and find out, you know, what is available out there, what kind of companies do you think that could suit your behavior, your attributes, right? And of course, once you're in the company, right, these are the steps that you need to know. You need to know what is the, considering that you've already been employed, right? You need to know the company policy, your remuneration, your benefit. You need to understand labor law. You know, you need to understand who do you report to. Do you have a mentor, or are you on your own? Is your assignment clearly relate to you? So these are the expectations that we would go through as a new employee or a new graduate engineer. And also ask or watch what is your career progression opportunity in this corporation or in the organization, right? Because that would actually tells where you would be in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, and so on, yeah? And of course, the job security. Is that company giving you a good job prospect with security? Some people like to be on contract basis for 2 or 3 years and earn big bucks. But there's no job security past the 2 or 3 years. So these are the variants in employment, yeah? You can also ask yourself, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond? Or do you want to be a small pond in a big fish? So that again comes to what you want to do, yeah, with your career. And the nuts and bolts of becoming an engineer. This is just a sample, because I come from the consultancy background, so I would deal with a lot of this, yeah? Design, specification, lead statement, bill of quantities, method of measurement, contract administration, QOQC. I think you've been exposed to all this along your 4 or 5 years undergraduate years, right? So that's why I said this is the nuts and bolts of it. You need to get that paper qualification, because to get that paper qualification, you probably would have gone through the process of learning all this, yeah? What I call engineering technical term. Of course, in the manufacturing, you'll have your standard operation procedure, and you probably know what GBI is, sustainability is, resources, renewable energy. So know all this term, and when you go for the interview, impress your interviewer, so that they know that you're really up to date, yeah, with what is expected of your job scope. And coming from the industry, what does the industry expect of you? I think generally speaking, there's a gap in the ability of a graduate in terms of effective communication, in terms of the relevant technical skill, decision-making skill, as well as basic leadership. Now, I'm not talking about the expectation of the 20-year-old engineers, but at your entry level, you must have a certain degree of all these attributes, yeah, in order to be employed or make yourself employable, you see. Now, just to throw in some statistics, yeah, you must make yourself employable, because we've got a 28 million population in Malaysia. 13.6 million are in employment, all right? And with the increase of the retirement age, right, about 100,000 are retained in employment every year versus 180 graduates entering the workforce. So there's a bit of that competition there. So you must make yourself relevant, and you must make yourself employable, okay? And of course, our wish list from the industry, right? How to develop technical, competent engineers with correct attitude and behavior. Remember the earlier slide that I said, technical and non-technical, people skill as well as technical skill. We also wish that graduates can effectively communicate, not just verbally or up here. You know, we don't expect public speaking or giving presentation, but the very basic of writing, relaying your information in report, letters, short memo. That is a very, very basic requirement. So you need to work on that communication skill. And of course, as you move up the ladder, you're expected to give presentation, which is part and parcel of your daily routine, and to impress clients, sell ideas, market the company, eventually also involved in CSR, like what we're doing today, talk to a bigger audience, yeah, to wonderful audience like you all. So you have to work on that. And of course, as the industry, we also concentrate on succession planning, because we're not going to last forever, you see. In 10 or 20 years' time, I want somebody to be holding whatever position they're available, and it is you who will be filling up that void, yeah. So we will identify people who's got good prospect and potential, and this is where we impose a special course towards their career progression, what we call succession planning. So among the 100 people, there'll be 2 or 3 that's selected. Okay? And of course, as an industry, as an organization, there's also a clear effort to communicate the job scope to fresh graduates, right? We, as a company, for instance, my company, would actually be transparent about career progression, and we would also invest in training, because it is well known that training can be both informal or on the job as well as formal training. And of course, we will try to provide you with a conducive work and life environment, yeah? Because I think all work and no play makes Jack a dull person, right? So we try to strike a balance, because attrition rate, yeah, statistically show that attrition rate, people would retain or would be steadfast to a company if they are given both a well-balanced work and play or life environment, yeah? And of course, the corporate social responsibility, which is involvement in maybe IEM or even the community service. Yeah? So again, I emphasize again, expectation of the industry. Graduate engineer must have the competency and confidence to take up challenges of today's global workplace. So we're not talking about just local platform, local environment, but also global. As I said, HSS Engineering exports our services to international market, and amazingly, international are becoming to recognize that we are actually good engineers. It's just that we've been hiding all this while, see? So you must aim for that global or international standard. And of course, given that you're all generation Y, yeah, whereby you're very IT savvy and you can't live without your social network. But I believe that as long as there are people, and as long as we have machinery to maintain, we have equipments to design and build and produce, that people expertise is still required. You still need to be there in the workplace, in presence. Yeah? You need to be there in person. You can't just Google, or you can't just WhatsApp from home. You still need to be there in the workplace, yeah? In the industry. Now, who can we rely to for support, yeah, in engineering? I think Puan Rafta probably had gone through this briefly, but it is very important that graduate engineer be registered with Board of Engineer Malaysia, yeah, as graduate engineer before you practice, and also with IEM, which is actually a learned society. So all this would actually facilitate your advancement, and also to your getting your professional engineer, professional PE, yeah? And also actually more to market yourself, to your credibility, you know, as an engineer. So it's important to be registered with this too. And very quickly, these are the type of membership within IEM. So I think the student member, graduate member is very relevant to you, and then it will be followed by the member or fellow and so on. Yeah? And also, why do you want to affiliate yourself with IEM? You see, IEM is ISO certified, and you're a member of Commonwealth Engineers Council, okay? Member of the World Federation of Engineering Organization, as well as the Asian APIO, right? So when you are affiliated with IEM, you're branding yourself, okay? People out there knows Malaysian engineer, right? And if you affiliate, you get more to your CV, okay? Okay, I think that's all I have to say. I hope you have learned something out of it. Again, that's me. I'm actually from HSS Engineering Consulting firm. I just want to mention a bit on the BEAM Global Venture. I hope you know what building information modeling is all about, yeah? That's the way forward. And as I said, you want to touch the blue ocean, and you want to do something that's new, yeah, something before the competitive is there. I hope you've been exposed to building information modeling modules, right? Because to us who's employing graduate, anybody that comes with that, you're actually at an advantage, yeah? Because I think the whole world is going towards that. Thank you very much.